Welcome to the Unsexy Businessmen podcast, where we talk about everything entrepreneurship and unsexy businesses. I am Alex Skinner, and as always, I am joined by my brother, Aaron Skinner. And what we are going to be chit-chatting about today is something that is very top of mind because I've had many discussions over the last, I'd say, 3 months about this, which is comfortability in your business. And more specifically, what we want to hit on today is why comfort can technically be a bad sign. Now, I just want to start off by saying I don't want this to be a trap where people are depressed and anxious all the time about their business. It is more just making sure that we don't allow comfort to stop our businesses from growing. And maybe you hit a point where like, this is where I'm happy with growth, but a lot of time where I start to see businesses fail is when they get to this plateau. They're just like, oh, good, we're making money, which is fantastic. You've grown your business to the point where it is self-sustaining, but it's not growing. And then something comes along, maybe you lose a huge client, maybe you lose a really great employee, etc. Who knows? Maybe there's an economic downturn or something like that. And then your business isn't able to sustain during that time. Have you seen any businesses or experienced this, I'm going to call it like disarming comfort?
I'll tell you what it's called. The word is complacency. That's what the word is. And yes, it's funny that it's so funny. It's perfect topic because I was literally, I was going over the book. I'm writing a book, and one of the topics is when I got complacent. We had a client. It was the very beginning of my business, and we had this client. And it was our largest client at the time, which wasn't very much. I think it was like $3,000 a month, which, doesn't seem like a big deal. It was a big deal for me. It was within the first year of the business. And I got complacent as far as like, oh, we're doing good. Like we were slowly getting new, really small customers in comparison. But we lost that client because I got complacent with not just that we had them, but how I was handling them. Go listen to our podcast on hiring people. I hired a terrible employee. I did a bad job on training that employee, and we lost that client. And that was like kind of the come to Jesus moment where I was like, I'm never going to be complacent in my business ever again, because that just losing that one client essentially like crippled our finances, which I know, again, sounds crazy, only $3,000 a month, but at the time was huge for us. And ever since, I'm glad that happened at the beginning, as opposed to, later down the line, starting to get complacent. And because of that, I was always like, gotta grow. Because there's the saying, if you're not growing, you're shrinking,
you're dying
or dying. Yeah. As a company, like if you're not growing, and it doesn't mean you have to beat, you have to beat your numbers every year, like your records every year. But as long as you're going up and up and up, as long as it's a trajectory going that way, or like this, could be like this or this,
So
but like
it's up.
not like that or that. So you don't want to be
That's going to be great for anyone listening to
this. That'll be the thumbnail. So yeah, no, man, it's really easy with entrepreneurs to just get complacent. But that was my personal experience, was getting complacent and not thinking of, the goals that I had and what I wanted to do. And that just changed. It literally changed my whole mindset of that business, which again, I'm glad it happened at the beginning, because that's what helped me to, really strap down, make goals, and make sure that, like you said, Alex, that's like perfect. You don't know it. You could be running the perfect business and you're offering the perfect service and you're doing everything that your client wants you to do. What if your client goes out of business? Has nothing to do with anything you're doing. It has to do with something maybe they're doing on their end. They go out of business. You don't get that money anymore. I could give you another example. Luckily I had sold my business at this point, but our the biggest client that we had, we were making around on average $50,000 a month off them. And after I sold, COVID happened, and they that's not what put them out of business. They got investigated by the some federal agencies, and their company went out of business. I'm not going to name the company, but that would have been devastating. It would have been devastating for us, but I had built it up into a place where, yeah, that would have been huge, but we still had a ton of clients where it wouldn't have like crippled my business. But it's just I think that's something that entrepreneurs need to think about. You could do everything in your power, but the clients that you have, something might happen in their life or in their business where they can't pay you anymore.
Right. And what were like some of the specific things that, because you mentioned strap down and goals, what were
Yes.
some of like the specific things where you're like, all right, we're doing this now. We're doing this
Yes.
now. We're doing this now.
Right. It was sales. Like, I got to be doing sales constantly. Like, it was goals that we set that I wanted to hit every month. And the goal that I had was like, we need to land a new client, no, multiple clients every month. So I wanted to have at least 4 new commercial jobs that we had every month. We didn't hit that every month, but that was the goal. Sometimes we got more, sometimes we got a little bit less. But the point is that we were growing. So instead of just, hey, we got that big
Or
client.
somebody comes along.
Yeah, or someone comes along, exactly. The other thing too was like employees. Like, we were constantly doing interviews, because another thing that sucks, if you get complacent with where you're at with your employees move or they quit, they find a better job. There's a bunch of different things. So the main thing was like sales, like always out there, always selling, always getting new clients. And then as we were growing, it was making sure we had plenty of employees to fulfill on those new contracts. So we were always doing interviews. So I'd say those are the 2 main things that we would focus on.
I think comfort is like very alluring in a way, because I think we're like natural, like we're just naturally, we want to get out of unsafe situations. So fight or flight,
Mhm.
you fight whatever it is. And when the enemy is vanquished, you're like, okay, I can rest now. You
Yeah.
run away from the tiger. Okay, I can rest now. And that's just like innately built into us. And then I think what ends up happening is people, you'll like get this little thought in your head, this like little thought. You're like, nothing's wrong, but something feels off. And if that, once again, this could just be anxiety or depression talking, but investigate it. Ensure that it is not that thing, because I go back to what I just said. We want to get a place of comfort, but if you look at all things ever in the history of this entire world, growth is one of the most important things. Like, evolution is in our nature as well. So yes, we want to be safe and we want to have that comfort. But in reality, another part of our nature is to grow, explore, and do more with what we have. So bringing that all back to like a business thing, I think it's very easy for you to be like, oh my gosh, my business finally works. All this hard work is finally paying off. We can pay our bills. We can do all this stuff. Now I can finally take a break. But what ends up happening is you stop doing little things. You might stop tracking key metrics, making changes that could cause short-term pain. So maybe you get rid of some of your bad employees because you've gotten so comfortable with it. You're like, I'm just going to keep my B and C players because things are going well. And then eventually those people, I don't know, maybe they are stealing from a client of yours. No, just kidding. I don't think that's what happened. I don't think that ever happened with you. Like, I know that, yes, someone stole, but I don't think you necessarily lost a client before. Yeah. But
we could have.
You could have. And so making sure that you're getting rid of those people, and then you start rationalizing missed opportunities, and you stop learning. You stop looking for new opportunities and things to try out for people. Those are what I see happening most often. I was talking with somebody, and they just like openly admitted it to me, and I was so
that they were comfortable.
That they were very comfortable, like with like,
oh, okay.
Like they're just like, yeah, like
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Without like getting like too specific about it. Like they're just like, yeah, I only work this amount of time. I'm making like this amount of money. And so I haven't
Right.
really been looking to like build my business in any way. And I'm like, all right, so the last however long that you and I have been talking, and you're talking about all this stress, was that all like a lie, or was the stress because you knew you were doing the bare minimum to survive, and now a a bill has come due, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I haven't been putting forth as much effort as I should have been this entire time."
Yes.
And not that like I think it doesn't impact me. Like, this isn't like a negative thing. Like, they have their own business. It doesn't impact my business at all. But it was more from along the lines of like, you keep bitching to me, person, and it's all your fault.
Right.
Like this entire time, everything that you've been complaining about has been your lack of motivation. And so I want to make sure that sometimes what ends up happening too is you get comfortable. And going back to like you rationalizing like the missed opportunities, you start blaming other things, other people, your employees. And at the end of the day, you are the one accountable for your business growth and success. So if it's not growing, it's all on you.
Yeah.
Stop pointing at other things and complaining about it.
Well, and then I'll give you like a perfect historical example of this. There was a guy that he had an end goal of getting a certain amount of these like stones. He was finally able to get all of the stones that he was looking for, and then he snapped his fingers and half the population of the entire universe disappeared. He went to go rest, and then he got his head cut off. So that was obviously the historical figure of Thanos. But the point being is like he did all this hard work, did it, finished what he thought was done, got his head cut off. But on a serious note too, another thing you have to think about too is if you're getting complacent, there's always going to be either current competition or new competition that's coming in. And so if you aren't, and we've talked about this before too, if you aren't coming up with new ways, or if you're not innovating and making yourself stand out from your current competition or your new competition, there's people building businesses all the time. You're going to eventually not have a business anymore. So you need to be thinking about not just your business, which you should be, but in the back of my mind, I used to think about this all the time with Honestly Clean. I was like, because I'd see new companies kind of pop up, and I was like, I don't want them to take any part of this market share. And that would kind of motivate me to even get out there even more to get sales and stuff like that. So you have to think about that. You don't have such a unique business that there's someone else that can't either start that same business, or everybody has competition anyway. But there's somebody, don't just think about the person that is working really hard. I mean, I tell my kids this all the time, hey, when they're playing basketball or whatever it is, like, listen, you don't want to practice, whatever, but just know that next game or whatever it is down the line, there's going to be someone that is practicing right now, that is practicing all the time, and they're going to be better than you when you guys meet each other. So if you want to be better than that person, you need to make sure you're doing everything in your power to be the best and set yourself apart from whatever your competition is. So that's what complacency is really going to bring you, is going to bring you failure, because there'll be someone that's not complacent, that is doing those little things, that is going to make your competition, or make your current clients want to go with them because they offer a better service or do something better in whatever industry you're in.
And I don't want to fearmonger too much, but a lot of the examples we're giving are like siloed examples. There could be times where all of these things come crashing down you all at once.
Mhm.
So the new competitor comes in. I'm thinking of the Michael Scott Paper Company.
Yeah.
The Dunder Mifflin having economic problems. Just in general, their stock price is low. Demand for paper is much lower than it has ever been before. New competitor comes in, undercuts them on pricing like crazy. And so they're fighting this 2-front, 3-front, 4-front war, depending on like what's going on. So if your pricing's outdated, if your processes aren't being revisited or updated, if you aren't looking for like new opportunities to grow, whether that be adding services or making your services faster from an efficiency standpoint, if you stop if you stop experimenting with like new things, like you're inevitably going to run into I just saw this a lot. And I also want to make sure, like, I'm not perfect. I don't. I just have seen this so frequently with other businesses where it's like, oh, we're just going to keep doing things the way that we've been doing because we have grown from $1 million a year to $10 million a year over a 10-year span. And then you don't realize until it happens, maybe there's a cap on our business model because essentially the only way that we grow is by hiring more people, which inevitably makes our profitability relatively the same and makes turnover all the more frequent, which means if you have turnover without good standard operating procedures in place, you're going to lose some of those clients, or you're going to have really bad turnover with your employees because they feel burnt out, stressed out. And it amazes me how frequently this does happen. Like we were, we were at a company that I worked at, our minimums for pay stayed the same for 5 years,
Oh, wow.
which should never happen. Especially if you like just think about just inflation in general, our minimums stayed at a certain. So like, they're like, why aren't we getting as good of talent as we once got?
That's what I was going to ask you.
What's going on? I'm like, they're all going to places that are paying them $10,000 more because when you start off your career, like you really need money, maybe you have to pay off loans or whatever it is, and we weren't competing on that side of things.
Yeah.
And then guess what ends up happening? You start losing a lot of people. You start having to fire a lot of people. And then your revenue decreases from $10 million a year down to 5.
And yeah, and then you're getting inferior employees, right? As like you're desperate, you got to get somebody in there, and you'll hire whoever because you have to get a body in there. As opposed to, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, like even it's funny, like even something as simple, I mean, not as simple, but as like basic as making sure your pay is keeping pace with the market can make a huge impact on your business. It just even, and the thing that made me think too is like that service thing. Nothing made me more mad when I had Honestly Clean than if I already had a client, we were already doing like the janitorial, all the stuff, and there was a service, it's called stripping and waxing. And I know it sounds very seductive, but it's essentially you go in and you take the wax off of the floor and you put new wax on and you buff it and whatever makes it look nice. We didn't do it at the time. And so our client's like, hey, we have someone that's coming in there, and so make sure to let them in. They're going to be doing stripping and waxing. I was like, what? Who is this? I was like, and then I was like, guess what we do now? We're stripping and waxing floors because I don't want anyone coming into my house or my client's house and taking any revenue that I could do. Yeah, of course. Like if there was an electrician coming, I'm like, what? I'm going to go get my electrician certificate or whatever. I mean, I guess you could do that if you really wanted to, but anything that's closely related to what you're already offering, make sure that you're not losing money from clients because you just didn't think about like, oh, I guess I could do this or I could do that. Like there's just always get as much money out of your clients as you can. And I'm not talking about ripping them off. I'm talking about by offering new services so that they depend on you even more. And then you're going to make even more money off of each client.
It's kind of an interesting thing. And maybe this isn't about discomfort, but would you say if you don't offer more than one specialized service, you even own a business?
It would have to be such a niche thing. I mean, what is there I know there are, and I'm sure people are gonna be like, oh, you're an idiot. I can't believe you didn't think of this business. But like, is there a business that's like huge that doesn't offer multiple
Things.
services? Right? Like
Amazon,
Amazon,
food
Google,
shopping.
Facebook,
Yeah.
like all the big tech ones. You're not going, what's the last time you went to a restaurant and they had one item that you could
To eat.
buy? Like that doesn't happen either. Yeah, if you're, I would probably, especially with small businesses, if you're only offering one thing, maybe in the beginning, that's fine. Maybe you just want to do window cleaning and that's all you want to do. Eventually you need to move into different things because there's seasonality, There's just a huge opportunity to make more money by offering new services. Whatever, it were like carpet cleaning, like, oh, I'm only going to do carpet cleaning. That's it. Like, well, what about upholstery? Well, what about I'm trying to think with like, or like, hardwood finishing or whatever it is. There's just so many different things that you can add on. Yeah. In the beginning, it might be okay, but if you're not quickly realizing you're leaving money on the table by not adding services to whatever industry you're in, that's not going to be good. People want a one-stop shop. That's what people want.
Right.
People want, in an industry, they want you to be able to take care of everything. They don't want to make 100 phone
50
calls. They don't want to, they don't want to email a bunch of people. They want to have their point of contact. Alex takes care of all of these things. And if something goes wrong with one of these things, I'm calling Alex and I know he can take care of it, as opposed to like, who's taking care of the ads in this one? All right, who's in charge of the website on this one? And who's in charge of our social media on this other thing? Like, no, they want one person that they can call. And again, that's with any industry that you're in. You want to be like invaluable to that person so that they are always coming to you with everything. And because of that, you make more money. It's great.
Yeah.
Win-win-win.
Well, I was just thinking about that because I'm going to do my hot take. Freelancers, you don't own businesses unless you like. So I just want to make sure I say that out loud. Like if you're maybe you've set up an LLC that has a cool special name, but I don't know if our podcast is necessarily for you, because a lot of the stuff that I don't know why this like just came to me right now. I think because the comfort conversation is, it's uncomfortable learning a new skill and being able to execute it. If you're just doing one thing, you're so easily like going to your wax example. Like what if those people were just good at stripping and waxing? You're like, okay, cool. I'm going to get good at that. I already have a relationship and I'm going to get you out of this building as quickly as possible.
Yes.
If somebody who has a way better relationship, like, oh my gosh, you're really good at this thing and now you offer this thing, they're going to knock you out of the room. So,
and we did.
Yeah. Is that exactly what you did?
That's exactly what happened. I was just like,
hey, we do it too.
I was like, who is this? What are they doing? And I was like, what are they charging you? And it was like a lot of money too. I was like, oh my gosh, it's that much. I mean, I'll be honest, stripping and wax is a giant pain in the ass. It's super messy. It's really annoying. But once you figure it out, it's not that bad. And it's a lot of money. And so when I asked the managers, like, how much they charge for that? It was like $2,500, and they were there for a few hours. I was like, hey, we'll do it for $2,200 or whatever it was. And he's just like, done.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys
Sounds
do it.
good.
Perfect.
Yep. Get these people out of the room. What happened?
So
what
they
changed?
They never had that job ever. Well, I was there. They never had that job again.
Yeah, it's a good reminder of like why relationship building is so important too. Like I know people who like take pride in having as few calls as possible, or as few like
interactions.
Yeah, that's the word.
Mm-hmm.
Interactions with like their clients, and it just blows my mind. It just blows my mind whenever anyone talks about that. I was just like, if you're not constantly talking with them, when something ginormous comes up and like you don't have an answer for it, it's going to be so easy to just let you. I've just seen it time and time again. Like a client that we just got where they just got complacent. Really what happened was they hired a very inexperienced person to work on the account and then did a terrible job. And no one was paying attention to the terrible job happening. And that company just wasn't having regular communication with them. And it was really easy for them to just be like, all right, cool. See you later. We got someone that talks with us on a weekly basis and emails quickly. Like a lot of people would criticize me of this. And I don't know if hopefully this helps people like talking about comfort and discomfort. Like get comfortable just getting things out of the way. When someone's upset, just handle it. Get it taken care of, as opposed to like freaking out and being like, I'm going to let this stew for a little while. The reason I say that is because I know people who are scared of those conversations, but let me step back. People criticized me at my previous company for how quickly I would respond. They're just like, you need to set boundaries. You need to it's like, who doesn't give a fuck about boundaries? Your clients. Your clients, what your clients care about is what you are doing helping grow whatever it is I need you to be growing. They don't
Right.
care like, oh, 24, like, because we had this thing where it's like, we'll respond to you within 24 business hours. And like, we would tell people that, like, if like, why haven't you responded to me? Like, oh, well, it's our policy that we don't respond. And like, we don't have to respond within 24 business hours. I'm like, just put yourself in the other person's shoes. If anyone
Exactly.
ever said that to you, you'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? That's insanity.
Yes, it is.
So that's like one thing. And I noticed this with, I don't know if I've ever shared this story, but the people who we initially hired to mow our lawn, it was brand new sod and like jacked up the back. And I reached out upset. And guess what? I never got a response. Never got a response. Never got a response. Never got a response. Their tractor, like looking back on it, I should have just sold the tractor that was in the back. It was like, it's my property. I don't know.
How
Eminent
long was it there
domain. I
for?
think that's a government thing. It was there for 4 days, just stuck in our backyard. And I could tell it was a new business owner. And essentially, I was like, can we get this taken care of? I texted them every other day. Like, I know how annoying clients can be. So I try to be kind. We're just like 48
Sure.
hours, 48 hours, 48 hours. A week passes, and then I go and leave them a bad review. They then reach out to me and they go, oh, we like didn't know how to like respond to you because, technically your lawn was overwatered, so it wasn't really our fault. I'm like, in the initial conversation I had, I said, is there any watering considerations? Because we just got brand new sod and we have to water it a lot. And
Right.
the person we're talking to said no.
And
So
you're the professional. You're the lawn person.
yeah. Also, so erase that from something you ever say ever again to anybody.
Right.
But it's like it didn't help that I had the evidence of the text message conversation that I had with this person.
Yeah.
Just don't ever say that. Like in this situation, anyways. So going back to like the story here is like, if you get comfortable and you like feeling comfortable, those type of conversations are going to be really, really hard to
Yes.
have. And you have to just confront them instantaneously
Yes.
because you're going to lose customers otherwise. I don't know why I wanted to go on such a rant right there. Just
well,
blows my mind.
it's because how annoying it is, and everyone listening to this podcast knows how annoying it is when you have an issue, you wanted to get taken care of. You're the customer, you're reaching out to the business, try to get taken care of, it doesn't get taken care of. Like that was, what I never heard from any of my clients? Never, hey, you communicate with me too often. Never once.
Right.
Never once did they say that. In fact, it
Right.
was literally the exact opposite. And we got so much business because of the other our competition who wouldn't contact them, who did pride themselves, or maybe they did, like they would not have good communication. I mean, we need to do a podcast on just building relationships with clients, but
Right.
that's like one of the biggest things that I see in new business. And maybe, I don't know, man, this is me yelling at the clouds. I don't know if it's because these kids nowadays are like so used to like, I don't want to offend anybody. And I'm not used to having these like one-on-one interactions with people. It's usually through a text or a Snapchat. Are kids still doing that? I don't know. Or whatever it is. So it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to have those conversations. I hated it when I'd get a phone call or an email and there was a problem. I hated it, but I made sure I got it taken care of immediately, because the longer it stews, the worse it's going to be. So I was always like, if I got like a text message, an email, if it was a phone call, obviously I took care of it right when they called me. But I was just like, oh my gosh, this happened. I'm reaching out right now and we're going to fix this. And because of that, we didn't lose clients. They knew if there was a problem, they could contact me and it would be taken care of as soon as possible. It was never a guessing game of like, oh, I wonder when Aaron's going to call to fix this.
Right. And there's a lot of like, you'd be surprised how there's data on this too. And I'm not going to stew too much on this, but I think part of comfortability does come back to this, like avoiding confrontation,
Mhm.
where customers are more likely to stay with companies that resolve major problems than go look for something as long as the problem gets resolved. I would have kept using that lawn care company because I didn't, like you said, I didn't want to go look for a new one if they resolved the problem.
Right.
And to add a little cherry on top to that story, I went and got $50 worth of sod an hour, maybe 30 minutes of my time actually, and
Mhm.
fixed what they had damaged. So it ended up being $100 problem that took them 2 weeks and a one bad review to try to resolve.
And the lost income they got because of that, right?
Right.
Like the
Yeah. So
thousands and thousands of dollars. Because I've had the same lawn care company for, I don't know, 7 years or whatever it's been, because they do a great job.
yeah,
Like for you, if they would have done a great job, you would have kept them indefinitely. And then, who knows how much money that would have that decision cost them, because not fixing a very simple problem, or at least responding immediately and then giving you a time frame of when they're going to come pick up their
that blew
equipment.
my
I mean,
mind.
it is
Still blows my
crazy
mind
it
that it
was
took
there that
7
long.
days. It took the
Like, don't
bad
you
review. It took the bad review for them to reach out to me. I don't get it.
just this is what you have to do. Be the business that you want to interact with when you're doing business with someone else. Like when you have an issue and you're calling in, be that business that you hope that business is going to be. When whatever it is, like with Alex's example, everyone has dealt with this. There's an issue with something. How you want that company with your issue to solve that, and the time frame you would like them to solve that in, do that with your business. I know this sounds really like, yeah, of course, but that's all you got to do. It's
A
not
lot
that
of
hard.
people don't do it.
And people don't do it. I mean, we see it all the time with businesses. It's like insane to me. I say this all the time. Like when something like that, like your example pops up, I can't think of anything on the top of my head, but like when that pops up, I was like, how is this company still in business? Or when I have like we had like a plumbing issue, and I called like three different plumbers. None of them answered. And I left a message. I eventually got the fourth one I called, answered, got the job, whatever. But those three other ones never called me back. Never called me back. Just like and then I'd save them. I'm like, how is this company still in business? And like, they're like, well, they're probably so busy they don't need your or whatever. But that is a very bad mindset to have as a business owner. Like, oh, that's we don't need to answer all the calls because we're busy enough. Like that's
Yeah.
again your
And then when the
complacency.
economic downturn happens and it's like, oh,
Oh,
it sure would have been nice to still have Aaron as a
I
client or
do
to
have
have
a great
gotten Aaron.
example. I do have a great example. So this is like 2020. So there's like peak COVID. And we're like, hey, we need to get some trees put in, like, to help kind of block off our backyard from our neighbor. Great neighbor, but you like to have some privacy. So I called a couple of different companies, actually several. A lot of them like, yeah, that's not a big. I mean, this was still like several $1,000s to put the trees in, and almost all of them said, no, it's too small a project. Too small of a project. Guess what? Uh, like a year later, when all of a sudden all their busyness kind of faded away because everyone was doing these projects during the beginning of COVID. When that faded away, they called me like, "Hey,
You still need those
you
trees?
still need those trees in? We actually could get them a better price." And I was like, "Fuck you!" Like, no, like I wasn't good enough then. I'm not good enough now. We went with a different company that ended up doing it, and it's just like. It's that kind of stuff. You're just like, if you think you're too good for these things, like you just never know when the tides are going to shift and you're going to wish you had that business. It was crazy to me. It's like, people are stupid.
Yeah.
People are stupid.
And then to give everyone just a couple of questions to ask themselves, like if you are too comfortable, what hasn't changed in the last 12 months? Like what have been the things? So this is like looking at your standard operating procedures, your employees, your pay, yada, yada, yada. What has not changed during that time? And it could be way more than that. Where are you coasting on old wins? Like, oh, we closed this $50,000 deal and we're just going to ride that $50,000 deal for forever. What decisions have you delayed because things are okay? This could be if you're carpet cleaner, or like it could be hiring new employees. It could be getting a new van. It could be getting new equipment. It could be it could be starting a new service.
Yeah.
But if ask yourself these questions and then go, is it worth changing something is it worth changing something right now so that we can start growing again? And yeah. And I just want to say, like, discomfort is growth. Like I hate to use like the evolution example over and over again, or the hermit crab thing, but the hermit crab's a real thing. It gets bigger, it outgrows its shell. Like, discomfort is a good thing. It means that you're getting larger and larger and larger. Maybe there's people who listen like, I'm happy with where I'm at, which is totally fine. But there are always going to be things that you have no idea coming down the pipe that you need to be preparing for. So,
Yes.
any other thoughts, Aaron?
100% agree. No, I 100% agree with all of that.
It's the top 10.
Right. Let's hop on over to top 10.
Top 10. All right. Here we go, Alex. We got this. This is going to be a really easy one for you. But I found it interesting. So the top 10 list is the top 10 most used apps globally.
Oh my God.
In 2025.
Apps.
And just to let you know, there's only one I've never heard of.
Okay. Just going to start off with the safe ones.
Facebook, number 4.
Is this ranked by
yes, it's like the
Facebook was number 4. This is worldwide.
Yep.
I know. I'm going to just say ChatGPT. It has an app function.
No.
Son of a. Okay. All right. Now I'm a little nervous. If Facebook was number. Okay. All right. I gotta focus. Maybe I should just go safe. I'm gonna go safe.
Yeah.
Instagram.
Number 2, Instagram.
Okay. Instagram. And Facebook. ChatGPT was wrong. Keep going safe, Alex. Keep going safe. It's like weird because I'm just like, is that technically an app or is that not an app? Like, it would have to be an application that you can download on your phone.
Yep. Yes.
Because, oh gosh,
dude,
you're gonna
feel silly. You're gonna feel silly.
I'm gonna guess like the Chrome app, like Google Chrome.
You're getting too niche.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay. Google Chrome. Okay, it's fine. Facebook, Instagram. I need 3 more. Snapchat.
Number 6.
Oh my God.
Snapchat.
Okay, but still, TikTok.
Number 1, TikTok.
Okay.
That was what I thought. Yeah, that's what I knew you would eventually get.
1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so we're doing YouTube.
YouTube, number 5.
I got it. I did it, everybody. Did it in 7. All right, but we'll keep going. YouTube. I'm gonna say Amazon.
Amazon is not on there.
Okay. Oh, Netflix.
Netflix is number 10.
And then I have one more guess. I guess it doesn't matter. I just crushed this one. What, you got 6 out of 10 correct? Nobody uses that app anymore. I almost like want to like look at my phone. Like, what do I use?
Yeah, if you looked at your phone, you would definitely get it.
Where do you got Facebook?
At least 2 more of them.
I'm gonna guess like ESPN.
No.
Damn it. Okay.
So, all right. Number 1, most used apps globally for 2025, TikTok.
Globally.
Number 2, Instagram. Number 3, WhatsApp.
Oh, yep.
Number 4, Facebook. Number 5, YouTube. Number 6, Snapchat. Number 7, Telegram.
Oh.
Number 8, I've never heard of this one, but it's called Be Real. I don't know. What is that? I don't know.
I have
Be
a
Real
fun story with Be Real, everyone. I can't remember the year, but I was teaching a marketing class, and I asked everyone, hey, who here has Be Real? And I asked them why they liked it. And they're like, we like it because there's no ads on it. I'm like, I guarantee within the next 6 months, there are going to be ads on it. And then 3 months later, they had ads. I'm like, you know what? You know what investors don't like to do? Not make money. Anyways, keep going. Be Real.
I don't even know what that is. I'm too old.
Be Real. It's like this thing where like you're forced to take a picture at a given time. It's supposed to be like real social media as opposed to like, oh, like you can use filters and stuff like that. It's just picture and then whatever you're looking at. Or I guess you can move the camera too. Katie uses it.
I don't understand technology. Number 9 is Spotify. Number 9 is
Spotify. I don't use Spotify. That's why. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. And then number 10 was Netflix. So there you go. Top 10 most used apps globally.
You know what's crazy about that though? WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. Like, so whenever people are like, oh my gosh, Facebook's going to go out of business. I'm like, I don't think so.
No, they're not.
It's like,
No, they're not.
they're not. I was like, first off, and then I do the racist thing, which isn't racist. I will then ask like a Latino person, I'm like, what is the most popular app that your cousins in the different country use? It's always Facebook. It is
Yeah,
always Facebook.
That's my wife's.
So like remember, we have this
yes.
very that's not right, like a very
Xenophobic.
American way of looking at things. We're just like, well,
Sure.
what does all the Americans like? Remember, America represents 3.5 million people of a $7 to $8 billion, or sorry, 7 to 8 billion
350 million.
Right.
Yes.
Anyways.
Yes.
Screw you all.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some listener submitted business advice. Hey, Alex and Aaron, I run a residential painting company. As always, send your questions to unsexybusinessmen@gmail.com or put your questions in the comments. We're doing around $35,000 to $40,000 a month. Congrats. Have 4 employees and steady demand. On paper, things look good. I hear this a lot. The problem is I'm tracking a lot. Revenue, leads, close rates, hours worked, payroll percentage, but I still don't feel confident about the health of the business. Some months feel great, other months feel tight, and I can't always tell why until it's already stressful. Everyone online says track your numbers, but no one really explains which ones actually matter once you're past survival mode. If you had to narrow it down, what metrics actually tell you whether a small service business is healthy or heading toward trouble? That's a good question. I like that.
That is a good question.
I mean,
the easiest one is, what is your cash flow after you've paid everything? So that's going to be a giant indicator. And guess what? The internet is correct. You need to be tracking all of your numbers, because if you're doing $40,000 a month and you're not seeing a good amount of profit, my first question is like, are you undercharging these projects? And maybe you got great employees, so you pay them really well, which is fine, but you need to then make sure you are charging enough to cover their payroll, your taxes, insurance, all that stuff. So I would look to make sure that you're charging enough. But the first indicator is that you're emailing us saying, hey, I'm not as profitable as I want to be. The main number you need to be looking at is what you're charging, and then what all your expenses are, and then coming up with the number to make sure you're charging enough to cover obviously all those expenses. Plus, what are you trying? Are you trying to do, you want to be like 20%, 15%? Like what are you trying to be as far as percentage wise, what you're profiting? So that's what I would look at.
Yeah, so definitely know what your goals are. You have to have goals to be able to track anything anyways. But if I were going to, this is probably like oversimplification, but I agree with Aaron. Revenue, just so you know that number. Profit, which is going to be that cash flow number that Aaron is looking at. Churn rate, clients that leave and never come back, depending on if that's a thing or not, because then you know how much business you have to replace each month. And then sales, like new monthly sales, and have a goal there. Because I agree too that like you should be looking at employee numbers and all of those things as well. But if you know those, like how much sales we need to like grow to what we want to do, what our profit is right now, and what our churn rate is, I think you're gonna be good. Bonus points, if you can calculate a lifetime value of a single customer. What are you in? You are a residential painting company, so people might not need painting as frequently as other services. So maybe it's, the lifetime value is that one sale, but like when they move to a new house or they want a new room painted, maybe like the lifetime value is actually double or triple that average number that they have. So those would be my thing. The bonus point is the lifetime value. But the other ones I 100% agree with, and congrats on growing your business to that level.
Sounds like it's going well so far.
All right. Number 2, I own a car detailing business. Business has been steady for the last couple of years, and honestly, I'm not struggling. Good. Bills are paid. Work keeps coming in, and I'm not panicking. That said, I keep hearing talk about recessions, slowdowns, and consumers pulling back. My concern isn't that things are bad now. It's that I don't know if I'm actually prepared if demand drops. I don't want to overreact and choke the business, but I also don't want to be caught flat-footed because I assumed good times would last. What should small service businesses realistically be doing before things slow down? Not doom prepping, but actual smart prepping.
Another great question. Yeah, that's a great question. Like expanding your service offerings, maybe changing how you do it. I don't know exactly how you have it set up. I know there's a bunch of different ways you can set up your business for car detailing. Are you only having people come to your shop? Are you going to their house? Have you talked to like companies that own fleets of cars? Have you gone into car dealerships and seen like, hey, we'd like to service, if you have a new car going out, you want to get it cleaned and freshened up, or you just got a new trade in and it needs to get cleaned up. There's just a bunch of different tactics that you can use.
Possibilities. Yeah.
Yes, and possibilities, and maybe moving into like news services. I don't know if I'd be like get into carpet cleaning or whatever, but different types of cleaning besides just cars. I mean, like boats. I mean, are you into boats? Are you into RVs? Like, what are you doing everything possible? So if it does, there is a downturn, there's always going to be rich people. It doesn't matter. The downturn doesn't matter. And rich people like to have their cars cleaned. So what's like your clientele look like? Is it, people that only want to do it once every 10 years? Or are you focusing on people that have money and even in economic downturns, maybe they're doing it every, 6 months or every month. I don't know how often rich people get their cars detailed, but that they would still do it at least once a year or whatever it is. I guess that's what I do.
Yeah, make sure if your car detail, make sure you have some sort of marketing automation for repeat business to make sure that
Mhm.
they are always thinking of you. And a good reminder is what happened in 2020. Some industries thrive during bad times, and then some industries don't. So my example is, what a lot of people were doing surprisingly in 2020? Buying homes. So home building was great, and that was really awesome for a glass door company that we were
Yeah.
working for. 2020 was a
Mhm.
really good year for them. What was really bad is that Italy shut down everything. So if you were getting Italian leather to make shoes, you weren't going to have inventory. So one of the Italian shoe companies that we were working with had to essentially like stop working with us because like we literally can't sell anything because we can't replace our inventory that we have right now. That one didn't last forever. That was like a 6-month thing, and then they were able to start building up their inventory. So a reminder that markets don't necessarily make everything bad. Sometimes it can be a really, really good thing. It was also great during 2020 working in government. 2020 was great because the government was, especially healthcare, government was spending a lot on healthcare for 2020. So uh, I don't think necessarily there's something with car detailing there, but just whenever you hear people doing the doom and gloom, 2008 happened. 1990 something happened, or 1980s. There's another recession. The Great Depression happened. We always find a way to get out of economic problems. Like even look at Greece. Greece had a huge major meltdown, and they are on recovery as well. So don't get scared. The people who are prepared, the people who are trying to grow, are going to be absolutely fine. The company I was at in 2020 decreased pretty significantly, but that was because most everyone had tons and tons of clients. So half of their clients you did shitty work for, and the other half you did really great work for. Guess who left? The clients you were doing shitty work for. And it was essentially like this economic thing happens, and it was like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't be giving you guys $10,000 a month because you guys aren't that great. So doing good work is inevitably going to keep people with you. Like, oh, you've helped me grow my business. You're going to be able to see me through this dangerous time.
And we probably buried the lead. The easiest thing you can do is save money for a rainy day.
Also true.
Like that's probably, I mean, and we're talking about business kind of strategy, which is obviously very, very important, but make sure you have, 6 months, a year, whatever's going to keep you comfortable. Like Alex said, like, yeah, there might be a massive recession or whatever, but it never lasts forever. So if you set yourself up in a way where you can ride out the storm, like let's say there's a huge impact on car detailing, you're not going to lose every single one of your clients. So if you already have this money set aside and you can slow the bleeding down because you already have that money set aside, that's going to take a lot of pressure off and probably also still motivate you to maybe try some of these other ideas that we had as well. So have money set aside for a rainy day.
Yeah. Thank you for submitting your questions. As
Great
always,
questions.
send them to unsexybusinessmen@gmail.com or add them in the comments. And we will chat with you all next week. Thank you for listening to the Unsexy Businessmen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review. Now go get to work.